Gunners supporters, blows his whistle. George Moncur steps up and scores! Bottom corner of the net. The goalkeeper was very close, and it's George. He lets in a low cross, and that's been turned in. And Leyton Orient are back on level terms. Here comes to James. He shoots. Oh, my goal from Tom James. That was a volley, and that was. It's a low cross. It's an inviting cross, and it's been turned in by Theo Archibald, and he celebrates in front of the travelling faithful.
Well, this is Orient Live, and it might be April Fool's Day today, but trust me, this fixture is no joke. It is first versus fourth in League Two, and it is an absolutely mammoth clash here at Brisbane Road, and it is Leyton Orient versus Carlisle United, and with only 9 games to go now, every point is massive, and well, they don't really come much bigger than today, do they? A team in on the charge searching for automatics, no winning. 4 for us, 3 for them. It's going to be an exciting one.
Well, I hope it's going to be exciting. Yeah, we all hope it's going to be exciting come the end of the 90 minutes, for us. So it's 2 teams who are battling at the top end of the table. They're going to be coming for it, literally trying to attack us, because a lot of teams come here and shut up shop and try and get a draw. I can't see Carlisle doing that today. I think they'll be happy with a draw at the end of the game, but I think they'll come and attack us, and it should be an open game.
And obviously no winning for Orient in the last few games. Some winning positions. We don't need to talk about it too much, but a win today feels quite. I don't want to say necessary, but I think everyone here wants it.
Yeah, you've got to kind of put the last few games aside. It was a little bit of a disappointment, but now it feels like crunch time. It feels like the run-in started. You're getting towards those last final few games, and what a game to have at this stage of the season. You can take points off a rival and really consolidate the brilliant position we're in.
Well, there have been a few changes from last Saturday's draw away to Hartlepool. So let's take a look through how Richie Wellens is lining up this afternoon. So the changes are Charlie Kelman, Kieran Sadlier and Rob Hunt all coming in. And it's Rob Hunt starting at right back in a back four of him, Omar Beckles, Ed Turns and Jaden Sweeney. Number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux, is behind them. And then moving up into midfield, we have the captain, number 18, Darren Prattley. And alongside him, number 15, Idris El Mazouni. In that attacking 3 behind the strikers, number 34, Kieran Sadlier, 14, George Moncur and 7, Paul Smith. And leading the line this afternoon is Charlie Kelman. And on the bench for the O today is Sam Sargent, Tom James, Rael Satiriou, Jordan Brown, Aaron Drynan, Jordan Lydon and Jamie McCart. So there is how the O's are lining up this afternoon, and a few changes, and you imagine Richie maybe wants to see a reaction not only from Hartlepool but also Colchester the week before. He'll want to see his team out there and fighting for all 3 points today. Yeah, definitely. We've got a really strong squad now. Almost everyone's fit, so there's great options to have, and I think with the changes, you've got a natural fullback in there with Rob Hunt. I think Jordan Brown's done a brilliant job whenever he's been asked to fill in, but ultimately Rob Hunt is a fullback that has won League Two before, so great to have his experience in there at this time of season where you see calm heads, cool heads and stay composed. And if you look at recent games, Glenn, it's been winning positions that have turned into just the point. Leaking goals that maybe we weren't leaking back in February, March time as much, but that's something that they'll want to be stamping out as well, making sure we don't see more of today.
Definitely. Listen, we've lost points from winning positions in the last 4 games. We're well aware of that. There's no point in us dwelling on that, and the players won't be dwelling on that, looking behind them. They can't change them, then results are done. They'll be just working on it in training, just concentrating for the whole 90, 95 minutes, whatever it is. Literally, we need to get over the line. Whatever way we can do that, we'll do it. Now, whether that's playing nice, attractive, attacking football, or when the games get tough and other teams are putting you under pressure, that's when our defenders, when our defensive midfielders, we really need to be disciplined and concentrate on the game plan. And if we need to kick the ball out of the stadium just to waste a bit of time and get back together again, we need to do it. So they'll be aware of that. They'll be aware of the points we've sort of dropped over the last 4 games. But I think they'll be all right today. I really believe that they've had a bit of a kick out the backside from the manager. He's openly come out and sort of criticised some of them in the media. I think we'll get a positive reaction from them players today. And as Glenn says, concentration will be key, and defensively we'll have to make sure there's no silly little mistakes and there are no lapses in concentration, because Carlisle, they know where the back of the net is. Yeah, not in the last few games they haven't. I think they've struggled for goals, but I think what's key today for them is that they've got their star striker back in the lineup in Christian Dennis. I think
Paul Simpson have gone for a different approach in terms of kind of playing Joe Garner up front and more of a physical threat. And fair to say it probably hasn't worked out, because over the last 3 games they've scored no goals. They've brought in Christian Dennis, who's one of the league's top scorers today, and that's going to be key for them, and that's why we've got to kind of stay sharp in defence, and we might expect a different Carlisle today to one we've seen in recent weeks.
And in a goals perspective from Leyton Orient, we've been scoring in our recent games, maybe just not enough. Maybe you'd want to see us score an extra, a third against Colchester or a second against Hartlepool, but it's Charlie Kelman who'll be leading the line today and hoping he can refine some scoring form.
Yeah, well, we've been creating the odd chance. Like in the first half last week at Hartlepool, we were creating chances, but it just wasn't falling for us. In that, apart from like the Paul Smith goal in the second half, it wasn't really falling for us. And he's changed it up. He's freshened it up today. He's brought 2 attacking players on starting lineup today, and they'll probably be disappointed that they were out to find themselves out the starting lineup in the last game. So they've got a point to prove as well, and it's really good that we've got that competition for places sitting on the bench, because in the running, these players and they're experienced players who have been on the bench in Sadlier and Kelman, they're going to want to prove what they can do. I know they're on loan. They're going to want to prove what they can do to get us up this league and out of this league.
And it's Kieran Sadlier that replaces Ruel Siri, who, as Glenn said, is a great option to have on the bench and a good option to be replacing him as well. Some real quality there, and hopefully him and Moncur in behind Kelman, so they can find some of that silkiness that we know they're capable of.
Yeah, probably found himself a little bit unlucky to be out of the side in recent weeks, but because of Ruel Siri's form and also the return of Paul Smith, he's been limited to substitute appearances. So for him to come back in today, look, he's a League One quality player. He's played in League One already this season about 18, 20 times. So we know the quality he's got. It'll be interesting to see how he lines up, because it could be Smith on the right and Sadlier on the left, or it could be the other way round. But I'll be interested to see how that goes. But like we said with Sadlier, he's got so much quality, and it's out him to show it on a day like today.
And then looking in an attacking sense, then you can't not talk about little Paul Smith. It was great to see him score last week. Unfortunately, it didn't seal the points, but having him scoring, performing, getting in behind defences, what a weapon it is to have in your side.
Oh, massive, absolutely massive player for this team. I've seen him before the game, about 2 hours before the game, and he was over in the West Stand, and he's full of smiles. He looks comfortable, he looks confident. Didn't speak to him, but just from his body language, he just looks really, really good. So hopefully that will translate on the pitch today in front of a full house, in front of our own supporters. He thrives on that. He absolutely thrives on that, and I just really hope we can get him the ball early enough today so he can go and cause problems for this Carlisle defence.
Looking at that Carlisle defence briefly then, do you think that'll be a back 5? Might be a bit of or a 3, I know you like to call it. But it might be slightly tricky for Paul Smith to get in. They'll be well aware of his capabilities. It'll probably be a harder test than it was against Hartlepool.
Defensively, they don't concede many goals in the last 5 games. I think they've only conceded a couple, so they are very compact. And what I expect, going back to your point, is it a 3 or a 5? When we've got the ball, it's a back 5. When they've got the ball, it goes into a back 3 when they're attacking. So make of that what you will. It's going to be hard to break them down. That's why Richie will be drumming into them. And I know he said it week after week about us attacking and passing the ball forward quickly. If there's ever a game when we need to do that, that's today, because they are very compact when other teams don't have the ball, and they do close it down and they close the space down. Our players with pace, we need to get in behind them early. So the midfield defence, we need to be on top of it early and play with a real sort of. We need to be ferocious when we've got the ball and get it forward early.
And we saw last week Hartlepool played a 3 or a 5, as we like to call it, and Smith in the first half certainly, but in the first hour or so he had the beating of his man, and he caused them all sorts of problems because he kind of cheated a little bit. He didn't really.
Don't say that word, cheat. He didn't. It was a tactical mastermind.
But yeah, Richie kind of got rid of that defensive responsibility of him, and he really caused them problems by isolating a wing back, and the wing back didn't really know what to do because his job is to go forward and attack and join the attack, and he couldn't because Paul Smith was in behind, and that's where the root of all of our attacking success really in the first 50-60 minutes game on Saturday. So I'll be interested to see if that's a tactic Richie employs again today.
And then obviously if we're looking at Charlie Kelman, who they're feeding, and Richard's very open about, it's about creating chances, and as you said, we did create a few last week at Hartlepool. We were lucky maybe with a couple of goals against Colchester. Would you like to see us really, obviously it's stating the obvious here, but really go out and put a game out of sight, score a few goals and do what we did earlier in the season?
I think we all would, wouldn't we? I'd love to be 5-0 up after 10 minutes. It's going to be difficult, it really is. Like we said about their defence, they're not going to give away too many chances. So the quicker we can get our noses in front, they're going to have to change their game plan. They have to change their game plan and come at us if they want to get anything out of the game. That plays into our sort of the way we play, our philosophy of attacking teams with the pace we've got up front. So if we can get our noses in front early, they change the way they play. They have to attack us, which is going to leave a lot of space in their defensive third. So I would really like that. But the longer the game goes on 0-0, as we can hear, they've got quite a few supporters here today and they're in good voice. They'll G them up a bit and they'll grow in confidence, and we don't want that. We want to keep them quiet. We want to ask Carlisle questions on the pitch as well. But going back to your original point, I'd love us to win 3, 4, 5, 10-0.
It would be nice, and if we look at the reverse fixture, we did manage to score 3 goals. We haven't done it many times this season, but do you think this game might tell us a little bit maybe about what we can expect today? We were probably lucky to come away with all 3 points against 10 men that afternoon.
Yeah, I thought they gave us a really good game, and even with 10 men, it wasn't a game where we were comfortable at any point. And I think if we're looking at the highlights here, I think first of all, Theo had probably his best game of the season for me, and that's going to be a big miss. But if you're looking at some of the goals we concede, they give us a lot of room in midfield, and they're quite an open side. Look, in recent weeks, they've been a little bit different. But if they go toe-to-toe with us, when we go toe-to-toe with these kind of teams in League Two, we know we can win a shootout.
I was going to say, we're looking at the away game here, and we're looking at the chances and the goals we've scored and the chances we've conceded. We've got they are quite a big side as well. We need to be really disciplined on sort of any defensive free kicks or defensive corners. We need to be sharp on that and organise early and pick up our men, and don't give them any opportunities. But I must say, Carlisle, looking at this reverse fixture, they will be breathing a huge sigh of relief that Theo Archibald is not in our starting lineup, because he scored 2 cracking goals away to them. He caused them problems all day. And yes, it's sad for us he's not here today, but they'll be breathing a bit easier.
And with 10 men, as we can see here, they were the team that probably looked like winning the game in the second half, and they're obviously they're no mugs because they're sat fourth and aiming for automatics. But even when they weren't, they've always been a good team, and Paul Simpson's a very good manager. Yeah,
definitely. Paul Simpson came in at a similar time to Richie last season, I think, just before him, and has turned them around in a similar way that we have. And all credit to him. It shows the quality of the manager he is. I think he's loved here. He's got promoted with Carlisle before, and I think he employs quite a direct style, but it works. It's League Two. You've got to play with what you can, and it's very high pressure, it's counter-attacking, but it's direct, and like Glenn says, they've got a number of big players, and I think if you look at like defending set pieces, in terms of both teams' defensive record from defending set pieces is excellent. But if you look at the goal they scored today, or back in this away fixture, it was from a set piece, and not many teams do that against us. So I think that's an area we've got to be wary today.
We're giving Carlisle credit here, and we've said that they'll be bringing the game to us, but the main focus really should be on us, our quality. We're top of the league. We need to be the ones going out there and trying to wrap this league up.
Yes, yeah, no, totally. But you have to have your eye on the opposition as well. We can't just go gung-ho and go on attack. You can't do that. Listen, worst case scenario today, we come away with a point, like we have for the last 4 weeks. We want to win the game. We want to get 3 points in front of our own supporters and open that gap up to 4th place. But listen, this is going to be really tough. This is going to be a tougher game than the last 4 weeks. And we've got points there. We just need to be disciplined. We don't have to panic. If the game's 0-0 for a long period of time, just don't panic. Keep to the game plan. Keep doing what we do. And like I said, I don't think there's going to be bundles of chances while the game's level. And I think both teams they'll try and hit us on the break, Brendan, won't they? They're a team who try and hit teams on the break. So they'll try and do that, and they'll just sit back and soak the pressure up. That's why when they are attacking and we get the ball, we need to be really dynamic and fast, trying to hit them on the break.
Well, there is only 15 minutes to go until kick-off here at Brisbane Road. So, of course, if you're an international fan watching along live on our YouTube stream, you can head over to the Orient website Match Centre to pick up your pass. And UK fans, you can listen along with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock as well. But now, let's hear from the main man himself. He really gets it. It's Richie Wellens.
Gaffer, it's Carlisle United in East London tomorrow, and games really don't come much bigger than this for us.
No, brilliant game. Big game. Probably the most important game of the season so far. But what a brilliant game to have. Hopefully a full house, good atmosphere. Carlisle, to be fair, when we played them up at their place, their crowd were terrific, made it really difficult for us, so I would imagine they'll be loud as well. So yeah, just a brilliant game. But in fact, a great weekend for League Two, with obviously all the top six playing each other.
Did you learn much from the reverse fixture? Obviously, I know they had 10 men, but from playing them last time, what did you learn?
Not really. We've changed quite a bit. They've changed a little bit, but we still expect them to the way they play. They don't take many risks. Our centre halves are going to need to head the ball a lot. We're going to need to defend really well, defend long balls, and be wary of the counter attack, because I think in terms of the way that they play direct and the way that they counter, they're up there with one of the best oppositions in the league.
Owen Moxon's been one of the players going to catch in the headlines this year, especially for Carlisle, with a number of assists. Is he one of their danger men from your point of view? Yeah,
he likes to run in the box from midfield. He was a good size, good athlete. So I went to watch him last week against Bradford away. I thought the first half he was good, and to be fair, second half Bradford controlled the game. So like I say, we'll need to defend very, very well, but I think we've got loads and loads of weapons where we can hurt them.
Kind of mentioned it a minute ago there, but it seems like this weekend it kind of feels like it could be quite a decisive one for League Two and maybe the overall outlay. Obviously nothing's decided this weekend, but it does feel like a big one.
Yeah, don't care. Only care about our result. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, myself included, been guilty of it, looking at other games. This week I don't care. Just make sure that we turn up and we put on performance.
Fantastic stuff there from Richie, and he's such a good speaker. He knows he's a people's person, and what he's saying at the moment about giving the club back to the fans, return us to where maybe we belong, and after what's happened over the recent years, how special is it to witness and feel the energy?
It's massive, actually. He's coming. He knows what Justin done a few years ago. He knows what it means to the supporters through what's happened to the club over the years before Kent and Nigel come in, and where we were and where we've come back from. He knows how much that is, and I heard that he made, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard he made all the players watch that documentary and sort of to make them realise, especially the people who are on loan or the players who come in this season, how special this club is and what it means to the supporters and everyone involved, So it's really, really good. Not only is he a good talker, like he said, he's a bloody good coach as well. So he's trying everything at the moment to get everyone motivated, to get everyone on our side and give us that final push that we need.
And you do feel he can galvanise the squad, the boys, and get us over the line. I want to run for a brick walk through him. I'm sure the boys do too.
Yeah, I love it, because I think him and Omar spoke in their interviews about this week about feeling a little bit of pressure, but pressure's good. Look, bad pressure was 6 years ago when he's talking about a documentary when we're falling out of the Football League and we might not be a club anymore. That's when you feel the pressure. This is good pressure. This is what you want to be. This is what situation you want to be in football with. We're in a great position. Got some big games coming up. Let's embrace it.
We are in a big position, but there is still a very long way to go, and that journey starts today against Carlisle United. So let's take a look at the visiting side and Paul Simpson's Cumbrians, who currently sit fourth in League Two. They've only won one of their last 5, but they'll be looking to get a result today, and Paul Simpson has opted for number 1, Thomas Holy, number 3, Jack Armour, number 4, Owen Moxon, their captain, number 5, Morgan Feeney, number 6, Paul Huntington, number 8, Callum Guy, number 10, Omari Patrick, 14, Christian Dennis, number 22, John Mellish, 25, Finn Back, and 35, Alfie McCalmont. And on the bench for Carlisle is Mick Kelly, Jordan Gibson, Ryan Edmonton, Ben Barkley, Jamie Devitt, Jack Robinson and Joe Garner. Now, I don't know where to begin here really, but they've got a lot of good players in their side.
Yeah, I think they've made 4 changes today, and they're all changes that I look at on paper from my view as changes that improve the side, which is obviously not great for Orient, but it shows they could be a different side today from the side that I think they went last week from having a good solid week to that 94th minute a loss against Gillingham they conceded to it turned into a bad week. I think 0-0 against Stevenage and Bradford are good results, but then you go into Gillingham and you expect to pick up the 3 points, and they didn't that day, and they end up losing, and that's where they're going to have to bounce back from disappointment.
Well, Glenn, you were picking up fan mail just there.
I was, yeah. Just got given a programme from many years ago with me on the front cover.
Jeez, who made that editorial decision?
Yeah.
But
and we played Brentford that day. Look at them now. That could be us in a few years.
Yeah, that that was absolutely years ago, but let's focus on today. And as Brendan says, good players in a good position. Who sticks out for you this afternoon?
There's a few players for the outfield, but the goalie is absolutely huge. He's 6'9". He is a honey monster in goal. So anything going in the box in the air, he's going to come, he's going to punch, he's going to collect. So how do you play against a keeper that big? You shoot low, don't you? You make it difficult for him. So everything's got to be on the floor when we're shooting. The sprinklers are on at the moment. It's making it a greasy service. So there's always ways around everything. But as for their outfield players, Brendan knows a bit more than me about them, and they've got some super players there.
Yeah, I think we're going to look now at Owen Moxon, who has been an unbelievable find for them, really. I think they bought him in the summer from I can't believe
Scottish League 2.
Scottish League 2, yeah, and I think he's a player that kind of grew up in the Carlisle area and was rejected by them as a kid. He's made his way back and had a phenomenal season this year. I think 5 goals and 13 assists, as we're reading on the screen now, and we're seeing some of his goals. But he's that midfielder that not only chips in with goals in this kind of 3 at the back formation, which is invaluable for your central midfielder, but also the play goes through him. And with 18 goal contributions, you've got to be looking at, even if they go up this season, they're going to have a tough task to kind of keep a hold of them.
He's not a one-trick pony either, is he? When we're looking at the goals, he's scoring with his right foot, his left foot, his head, like you say, all the assists he's had. He is a very, very dominant player in this league this season.
And we've only seen his goals there, but 13 assists, that's a very good number, I think you could say, from a centre midfielder.
Oh, definitely, and he would have been targeted by opposition teams, but they would have known his quality, and they've not been able to stop him. So our midfield today have got a real task on their hands.
That's down to Idris El-Mazouni and Darren Pratley in the middle of the park.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to have a big day for them today. Obviously, you want Pratley in there. He's got the experience. He's been in this situation before. You've got El-Mazouni, who's been arguably our best player this season. But it's a battle for them today. Callum Guy's a decent player. Owen Moxon, we've highlighted. Alfie McCalmont is one of the changes. He's on loan, and I think he's a player that has really impressed me whenever we've come up against him in League 2 prior to today. So a real battle in central midfield today, but one where you've got Pratley, El-Mazouni and even Moncur to come in today, and they've got to dominate and show why we're the side at the top of the league.
Amari Patrick can also cause trouble. He's a very tricky player. That if you look at our fullbacks, Rob Hunt coming back from injury, player of the month Jaden Sweeney, it's that those wide areas, it'll be important to defend those well.
Yeah, absolutely, because they're going to be looking for Christian Dennis today. We spoke earlier about the fact that it's massive for them that he's come back in. Joe Garner was playing a few previous games and they found goals hard to come by. Now with Christian Dennis, they have more of like a natural goal threat in the box, so I'm sure players like Amari Patrick are going to be licking their lips, because now they're going to have someone to really feed off and play balls into the box towards.
Going back to that point about pressure and how Omar and Richie said that it's good pressure, and we need it. Carlisle are feeling it as well, as we've already touched on. 1 win in 5. They've got a goal that they're trying to reach. It's not going to be a case of they're going to steamroll us or we're going to steamroll them, is it?
No, both teams will be looking at the opposite team and saying, look, they're not in the best form at the moment, current form, and they'll look at us, we'll look at them and the same. It is what it is, and they'll be saying, right, it's a good time to play the O's. This is a big game today, but it's not going to be easy. But I think if there is an early goal, if there's a real early goal for us, it makes it, I think it'll be a lot more exciting for the supporters, because it could fizzle out if it's the 0-0, and it could be a very defensive game for both teams. I just think that early goal is key for us to open the game up and make it a very, very entertaining game.
I think that's a really interesting point about pressure, in terms of we've been top of the league pretty much the whole season. We've been there to be shot at. We know what it's like. We've dealt with it throughout the whole season. Carlisle, before the Stevenage game a fortnight ago, had it in their hands for the first time. They've been kind of in the chasing pack, but they moved up to third before that game, and they haven't dealt with it well. They haven't won since then. They haven't scored a goal since then. So maybe they are feeling it a little bit, although now they find themselves out, maybe a little bit of the pressure's off. So it's interesting what this type of game can do to teams.
Sorry, Ollie, I didn't realise I heard the question you said about pressure, because the away supporters were singing. I would say I think the pressure's more on us, because we have been top of the league for so long, and then we have stumbled a little bit of late. So our players were probably feeling the pressure as the chasing pack gets closer, but there's different types of pressure. You've got some of the players on our team who will be able to cope with that, the experienced players. You've got some of the younger players who possibly won't. And Listen, I'm sure Richie would have been speaking to them individually and collectively as a team this week and calming them down and just telling them, let's get back to basics. Let's do what we were doing when we went on that unbelievable run and which got us to the top of the league. I think we'll be fine today.
Well, we've spoken about the players, but when it comes to nerves and the feeling around the game, Brendan, I think I know the answer, but how nervous are you? How big does this game feel in your mind?
I think it's the biggest game. I think it's fair to say it's the biggest game for Orient for 4 years since the National League season. I remember quite a similar game in terms of this time of year against a similar kind of side where they were in the league. The Wrexham game, do you remember it? When I think Marvin Ekpateta scored to win 1-0 on BT Sport. It feels like that kind of day. It feels like a type of day where if we get a good result and we go on to achieve success this season, then this will be a day we look back on.
I can't remember who Wrexham are or whatever, but yeah, exactly.
Oh, that foreign team. Okay.
Yeah. But looking at the games we've remembered here, you look back at 2014 in the playoff semi-final. You look at that Wrexham game, Braintree at home on the final day. We've had some special memories here, and it does feel like with the noise that's starting to build, the crowd, the sellout, it's feeling special.
It is very special, and look, we're in a great position. There's a few games left. It's not down to the critical moment like when it falls to the last day of the season and you've got to get a point or you've got to win away or anything. That's completely different. We're in a very good, comfortable, I'm going to say comfortable position at this moment in time. Yes, today it's not critical we win. It would do us a massive favour if we win today and widen that gap to fourth place. But if we don't win, it's not the end of the world.
It's not, but we will, hopefully. I say that, but what way do you see it going then?
I'll go for a tight 1-0 Leyton Orient win, just like against Wrexham.
I spoke to a lot of supporters before the game, and about 5 of them told me we were going to win 2-0, so I just went and put a bet on 2-0. So it's not my prediction, but the supporters believe we're going to win 2-0.
So 2 clean sheets from you, that would be big for today, wouldn't it?
Massive after conceding in the manner in which we've done in the last few weeks. Get back to getting a clean sheet today, and with the firepower we've got up front, that would be great.
And of course we're saying this, but let's not ignore the fact we're unbeaten for 9 games.
Yeah. It's easy to get down because we've dropped points from winning positions, but to be unbeaten in 9 games at this time of the season takes a lot of doing. We should go into this game with every confidence. We've been the best team in the league all season. Let's throw it today.
Well, I'm confident, Brendan.
There's a steely confidence in the players' faces in the tunnel there.
There is, and they're making their way out onto the field here in Brisbane Road. The energy is electric, and it's time for kickoff. So let's hand over to our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Good afternoon and welcome to Brisbane Road, which is absolutely buzzing. It is a sellout and it is a massive weekend in League Two with the top 6 playing each other. And here at Brisbane Road, it is the league leaders Leyton Orient taking on 4th place Carlisle United. It's fair to say that both these ambitious clubs want to return to winning ways, and both have made changes, haven't they, Matt?
Yeah, they have 3 changes for the O's this afternoon. In comes, sadly,